Is that better?
It's perfect. You're on my screen, you're on my live, Claire. It's what we want.
Perfect.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited to talk with you. I've been listening to your EP this whole week, really, and it's amazing. But we'll get into that a little bit later. For those who don't know who you are, introduce yourself, how long you've been doing music, and then we can crack on with the questions.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Um, my name is Leslie Bowe. I I'm originally from Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh area, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, actually. And I've been playing music for longer than I mean, it seems like many moons. Okay, let's just say that much. Uh, for for years, I've lived in LA. I lived in Chicago. I've lived in Florida. I've lived almost everywhere, trying to pursue music. And I recently moved down here to Nashville, and I've been living here in Nashville now for about 4 years.
Wow.
So,
Wow. I mean, I went to your website and it said fresh, honest, and soulful. And I think it's a perfect way to describe your music because that's kind of the feeling you get when you're listening to your material. Where did you get those three words? Is that something somebody's described you as, or is that how you felt yourself? Somebody who's fresh, honest, and soulful?
yeah, no, that's how I look at myself. I've
Amazing.
always tried to be, just a little different, like a sound that is familiar to the ear, but yet, my take on it, because I'm such a blend of everything, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
uh, and honest, because I want my lyrics to be real and honest, and soulful, because I come from a soulful background, raised in, singing gospel music. And so that's, sort of me, me in 3 words.
It's no, it's a great choice of words. I don't think people go for those. They normally, I don't know, charismatic, like really typical words. But I think it was a perfect way to even describe your music because just as you've mentioned, listening to your music, there is something quite like almost nostalgic about it, as if I've heard you before, but like I've maybe heard your music before. It's really a really pleasant sound. And one thing I did also notice is you've mentioned you've been doing music for most of your life, but you've been professionally songwriting only for the past 4 years, I believe. So that was a fairly recent thing. Why was that you've decided actually I need to write some of these original songs?
Well, I've actually been writing and recording my own stuff for years, but I wanted to try to make a living at it, to be a professional songwriter. And it's tough in a lot of other genres,
Right.
And so I wanted to move to Nashville because I wanted to start writing country music, because it seemed like, my soulful blend is, starting to come back around. You can hear it infused in a lot of the current country music. So I love country. I love, where country's going. And so I wanted to move to Nashville because I had heard so much about Nashville as being a community.
Mm.
And it truly is a community. And so um, I've been writing professionally for many years, but I just, took it seriously enough to really move to Nashville 4 years ago to start doing that. And so I've been trying to write for the contemporary country market for the last 4 years. And then at the same time, you're always trying to cut through so many people trying to do the same thing. And I thought, you know what, I hadn't released any material for a while, and had some, personal situations going on. I said, well, you know what, let me write about it. Let me get back out there again. And so that's what sort of kickstarted this project, and these songs.
Yeah, so making that move to Nashville must have been quite nerve-wracking. Did you have people that you knew before? Did you like it's a big move, it's a big choice. Apart from the music, how was that transition to Nashville from where you were?
Wow. Well, I had been driving to Nashville because it's only about 8 hours from Pittsburgh.
Oh,
And so I was working on the week on during the week, and then I was trying to come down on the weekends. And then, so whenever I could, I would come down here, as often as I could. But it really wasn't, much of a transition. I moved down with my girlfriend at the time. And, found a good place in Hendersonville, which was right outside of Nashville.
right.
And, you know, saw it as this huge, huge, huge town. But
Yes.
as I've been in it and writing songs, I see that it really is a small community. It's a small group, and not as huge as I thought it was. And, you know,
I mean, from a perspective outside, the US and outside probably Nashville, like as a Londoner, Nashville seems like the place to go for country music. It seems like the heart of country music. Did it inspire you to write more in that style? Because I know you also said you had like some experience with gospel music and church music. Did that kind of mold your sound and your style a little bit as well?
well, yeah, I mean, I definitely moved here to write professional country music, to write contemporary country. So I did come here specifically, for that reason. But when it came to my own project, I, had to still follow my sound, which is sort of, I call it, acoustic soul, Americana roots soul. Um, so I said, for me to release my album, I wanted it to be, based on my particular style. And I like to infuse a lot of, the soulful, melodies and soulful rhythms and things like that in my country, songs. But I did specifically move down here for country, and this project was specifically for Americana. And I wanted to work with my friends, the Renfrees, and Ren and Andy Renfree. And so that's their main genre is in Americana. So Ren actually recorded it, produced it, and so that's why I kind of wanted to go in more of that vein. And I'm going to be heading a little bit more, you know,
Okay.
uh, in that style.
Yeah, no, that sounds exciting. I mean, you did see some success with it with, you won the Nashville Songwriter Association Award for the Best Evaluated Song of 2020, which is quite a big recognition for your music. How does that make you feel, being recognized by a prestigious, corporation in Nashville for something you've gone Nashville for, like writing music? How was that experience for you?
Well, I mean, I am so thankful and so blessed to have won that award, for a song that we co-wrote, a couple years ago. And, but, I learned that, the professional songwriting, route is, there are more no's than there are yeses, right?
Right.
So more no thanks, no thanks, close, close,
Right.
so every time you see any kind of an accolade or great job, or you win an award, or you get any kind of recognition where there's so many people, it is just here you go, keep going, here's a little water on
Mm,
marathon, right? So it's like I have a little bit more inspiration to say, well, I think I'm doing something right, and I just have to keep doing more of it. And I know it really is a journey, and you have to really appreciate all of your friends and co-writers, and every accolade. It's just something to keep you going.
yes. You know,
So that's how I look at that as just that.
yeah. No, I had the same conversation with, I think, Miss Michaels on the live as well. On the previous episode, we had a conversation about how difficult it is for artists and songwriters and musicians just to keep going. And I know that from a maybe non-musical perspective, you kind of say like, what are the things that hold you back? It's just singing, it's just writing. But you know, as artists, we wear so many different hats, right? We have to do so many different things, and there can be so many points to be like, "Oh, is this worth it?" Like the struggle, the no's that you talk about, is this worth it? So it's amazing that you've been able to get recognition, and I totally understand how it's probably less about the accolade but more about, okay, actually this is motivating me to move forward, and keep going. Have you ever dealt with kind of like the anxious anxiety side of being an artist? I mean, you've done it for so long, so have you got any advice for other upcoming artists?
I mean, it's just like you have to, or at least I found that, if, I mean, of course, I would love to, have my songs streamed, hundreds of millions of times, and I want to play, but it's like, I just try to enjoy the journey. I enjoy all of my co-writing friends, all of my friends in the community, and just new people that I meet, just like yourself. And I mean, it's just I just have to enjoy the journey. And if it happens for me, thank you, God. I mean, that's that would be incredible. But at the end of the day, if I can look back and say, well, I really, met some great people. I, played some songs for, people that really loved it. I was able to engage, and I developed all these relationships and friendships through the
Right.
pursuit of that. Then I consider myself to be a lucky man at the end of the day. So
That's
you just have to keep going and just do it because you love to do it and because you want to, you know, meet people and, just get back and,
I think
feel their vibe.
Yeah, I think that's a wonderful way to look at it. A lot of music is about connecting with people, about relating to certain topics that you've kind of gone through. You know, you're all the way in Nashville, but some of your experiences could relate to somebody in the UK and in London, and I think that's such a powerful thing, right? Whether you sell out stadiums, of course, every artist would love to do that, but even being able to connect with that one person, I think, is powerful in itself. And social media is one of those things that has helped really people connect from across the world, but has definitely changed the way we look at music and adding a lot of pressure to artists. So with your experience, have you been able to kind of like adapt to that new changing environment? Do you enjoy it, or have you kind of prefer the old school vibe of CDs and the grind of like actually building fans from from scratch essentially?
Well, it's relative to me, but I think it's great, that I can be having a conversation with you. You're in London, I'm here in Nashville. And I mean, I think it's great. And I want to try to take advantage of it more. I want to try to do more, live streaming events. I'm trying to get my little studio set up here so I could, do that more. Because I, I really want to try to get outside of just Nashville. Um, I had a chance to go to Ireland several years back. It was a songwriting competition, and man, I had the greatest time. And I want to get back to London, and I want to start, playing some gigs outside of here. If we can get on with our lives, if COVID will just go away. uh, but no, I want to embrace it because I hope that I can build fans around the world, where I can go on some tours and I can get outside of Nashville. And I would love to meet you face to face in London and do a couple, shows.
Yes,
Yeah.
honestly, it would be amazing, and I think your music is perfect for the kind of acoustic performance side of things, but also can be upbeat, and I think a lot of people in London would really enjoy your music as well. So I hope that happens. I hope we can meet in person. You've put it out in the atmosphere. I'm praying that does happen. But let's talk about something, right? Your latest release. Talk to us about it. I know you've kind of described it as like a musical journey for someone to talk about the life cycles of love. Where did that concept come from for you? And you mentioned it was a little bit from a personal space. How did that come about, and how were you able to like explore those different sides?
Yeah, yeah, first thing I did was I I wanted to reach out to several songwriting friends of mine, the Renfrees and Jane Sachs, Bill DiLuigi, and so I first want to reach out to them, and then I just wanted to kind of, I have gone, just like anything, it has to be real.
Hmm.
So for me, I want to touch on real emotions, real things. And so I kind of wanted to take it, how some of my, last, relationships have kind of gone. Things are great. And then things are a little rocky.
Right.
Um, and then you go your separate ways. And then you try to learn from it, and then you try to pass it on, possibly to somebody else or to your next relationship. And then you start the cycle again by saying, well, things don't have, there doesn't have to be drama in every situation, and I'm okay if I'm by myself, right?
Right.
Until, situation. And so that's sort of where I kind of, because that's not the first time I've kind of gone through that, cycle, and I'm
Right.
sure, like all of us at one time or another have gone through that cycle. And it was about, specific relationships, over time, not just one.
Yeah.
But I sort of pulled from, different ones. And, so that's why, like, little kindness, that
Yeah.
was about, finding love, someone, wow, someone, you know showed me a little love, showed me a little kindness, and it really changed things.
Mm.
And then Stan was about, I'm gonna make, it's like, I have to, things aren't going well, and I have to make a stand for myself. And that was a little vulnerable for me, because I know, like, in the country music market, men are, it's like, more like, macho, and you're not really supposed to show this vulnerable side.
Mm.
But that song, I'm a little different. I said, well, I'm okay. It's okay to be vulnerable, to say, I got to stand for my heart. And I don't, men don't usually talk like that, or at least publicly, they don't really talk about it. But
Right.
uh, so that song was about, taking a stand and using it in several different ways, right? Standing up physically and taking a stand. So we
Mm.
kind of incorporate both sides of that, and that's probably more of the country, thought, up to the songwriting,
Yeah.
um, and then moved on to Break Even, which was, some, love. Usually, some, one or the other wants it more than the other one,
Right.
and hearts don't break even. And so that was sort of going through that. And then Carry It On was sort of like, you know what, if I can help, I've made it through this. If I can help you, let's do it together. And that song sort of came from more the inspiration of, like, a Bill Withers kind of a, situation, you and me, brother,
Yeah.
stand, or like Al Green kind of a feel. We had some of the Tom action was sort of reminiscent of that. Um, and then moving on to Something Right was, which is, it's kind of, it's okay not to have any drama in your life. It's all right to just wake up and be thankful that, yeah.
Yeah, no, Something Right is definitely the track that stands out. I think for me, it's almost like a feel good song, and kind of like what you said in terms of, like, stuff doesn't have to be perfect, but it can be relatively right, and then and you can move on from it. So I think it was the perfect kind of title track for the EP. You spoke about stand and also country music, and that kind of bravado sometimes we need in most genres. As male vocalist, I think sometimes you need to almost, unless you're doing pure R&B, and even then R&B is not very, today's R&B is not the same way it used to be. Showing that vulnerability is a challenge. So it's interesting that you did a country-esque vibe to that one, because I think country music is really does explore songwriting in and storytelling in a very, very deep and meaningful way compared to a lot of other genres. Have you ever experienced with some of the other genres that you explore that you find it a little bit more difficult to get to those spaces, or has that been easy for you to write pertaining to other styles of music?
Yeah, I think that, with country, there are certain rules, that you sort of follow, and like you try to keep it into a certain parameter. And I think that is cool because I use a lot of that on this record. Again, something right about nothing wrong. You're using, the play on words again, breaking even, all of those, using the parallel to like a gambler.
Mm.
So a lot of that was, country. And in the other genres in the past, like, pop music, you can be a little more, um, you know, um, like you can, you can be a little more abstract with
Yeah.
things,
Yeah, I feel
you
like
know,
with pop
you know.
music, it's almost surface level, right? It never needs to be that deep. In fact, actually, with pop music, it probably needs to be as vague as you can make it, as relatable in terms of we don't need to dive into emotions as much as maybe soul or country or gospel, because I feel like as listeners you listen to the lyrics a little bit more in those genres, whereas pop is like if it sounds good, it's you connect to it. Not to bash anyone who does pop music. I kind of I do like genre blending music as well, so some of my music fits in pop, and I know as a songwriter when you get to the hook it's less about trying to find the right message. It's more about like what's catchy, what's like pulsating and like gets into people's head a little bit more. So there definitely is interesting to see that you've kind of experienced that in the music that you write. Have you ever considered visuals for the EP, for the tracks that you're doing? Are we going to get some videos?
Yes, yeah, and actually, I've got for a little kindness that one. I'm getting ready to shoot a video for that, and then the second release is going to be something right because you're right. There's something right about that song because out of all the songs, I sort of been watching my streaming activity and that one really has some legs to it. So that's going to be the next release. And so I do plan to shoot a video for that too. I think we're talking about possibly going down to Lower Broadway here in Nashville, which is crazy if you've ever been to Nashville, and maybe setting up on a corner and doing something like that, spontaneous. Yeah.
Amazing. It is honestly, it's a fantastic track. The last your vocals towards the end of the track as well are so powerful and strong. I love what you've been able to do there. How long have you been working on the vocal side of things, and do you play instruments as well?
Yes, I've been singing, from the youngest, I mean, because I said my father and my uncles had a singing group called the Bowe brothers. And every Sunday we go over to my grandma Bowe's house and we go from church and we'd all come back and we'd all sing. So I started singing harmony from a young age and, singing lead and all those things. And then I started playing music. I started playing in bands. Um, I played in reggae bands most of my life, actually. And in Pittsburgh, I played in a band called the Flow Band. I played in a band that I started with my friends called the Freedom Band.
Nice.
And then I did like a one-man band thing. I was in Florida. I played steel pan as well. So I play keyboard, guitar, well, acoustic guitar. I'm a strummer. And I play steel pan. So I did like a one-man band thing for Bahama Breeze, which is like it's like a restaurant, Caribbean restaurant chain here in the U.S. And I played there in Florida, and I played in Pittsburgh, and also played in Cleveland. And so I play three instruments.
Amazing, amazing. So I'm guessing when you're performing live, are you planning to perform with a band? Are you selecting an instrument that you're most comfortable with? Like, what's the plan? And have you got any upcoming shows that people can come and attend?
Yes, locally, here in Nashville, I'm trying to set up a tour, which will be outside of Nashville, probably more to in Pittsburgh area, which is where I have like a lot of my friends and fan base there. Um, but I am playing. I'm playing Debbie Champions. Right around. She's a good friend of mine. I'm playing her right around on June 5th, and then I'm playing a really cool music festival. It's called Musicians Corner. I'm so excited to be in that. I used to go see it every year, and I say, boy, I really want to be up there. I really want to be up there. And so after the EP came out, I applied, and this year I got a slot, albeit on the acoustic stage, not the main stage, but I'm just thankful to be a part of it. And I'm going to be playing that. That's going to be June 18th here in Nashville at Centennial Park. It's right in the corner of where the Parthenon is. If anybody's familiar with Nashville, there's the Parthenon, Centennial Park. It's called Musicians Corner. And I'll be playing there Saturday afternoon, June 18th. I'm really excited about that. I'm going to be joined by my buddy, Jared Grease. I'm going to play keyboard because I can only have two people. So I'm gonna, play my keyboard. I got like here. I got like a little bass, so I can do the little bass left hand, and so that way I can play acoustic upright keyboard. Jared's gonna do all the guitar stuff.
That's amazing. It's amazing. Congratulations on that gig as well. I think it might be a small stage, but you spoke it into existence. You're with some of some great artists and a stage that you've kind of dreamt of being. Hopefully, the next time we connect, I want to hear that you're on the main stage and it's going to happen. So we're putting that out in the atmosphere. It'll happen for you, I'm sure. Well, that sounds amazing. That sounds amazing. You said a little kindness, and this EP is kind of the start of your musical journey. Where do you see maybe yourself in 5 years? What's the goal? What's the dream?
Wow, I just want to keep writing. I want to keep releasing. I want to explore, the Americana genre a little bit more. I love, Tex-Mex, Tejano. I want to involve more instrumentation. I want to have accordions. I want to have fiddles, steel guitar, but you're still going to get that soulfulness. Think about maybe having a mariachi horns in there. I mean, basically something that you could hear on a show called Austin City Limits. I don't know if you're familiar with that or not, but very eclectic blend of instrumentation. I'm really looking to explore, just do some different things. So I'm actually writing now. I have a writing session coming up Saturday with Bill DeLuigi, who wrote co-wrote a little kindness with me and carried on. So we have a writing session coming up, and I've got a whole bunch of writing sessions coming for some of the newer stuff. And I'm just really excited to get back into the studio. I want to continually be releasing stuff, and I want to explore, many different genres. I can't say genres. Maybe instrumentation.
Yeah.
Like I said, accordions and fiddles and string quartets and maybe
Right.
like an acapella thing, vocally, maybe some harmony type stuff. I don't know. I mean, I just want to just see, see what comes out.
Yeah. Seize the day. I think it's so exciting to kind of talk to you at this. I want to say, like it still feels like a fresh early on part of your career, just because you're exploring this new EP and it's a start of a journey, but this has been a long time coming for you. So firstly, congratulations on all the releases that you've done over the past few years, but also I'm excited about what you've got in your future. So congratulations again. Do you want to give any shout outs to anybody you've worked with, collaborated? I know songwriting is such a dream to work with other people. So do you want to give anyone a shout out?
Wow, I mean, I have so many co-writers for country. Man, I have so many. For this, for this project, the folks that were, so instrumental in this, and definitely, Ren and Andy Renfrey. From the first moment I met Ren, he said, "Man, I want to record you." And so we actually made it happen. So I definitely want to shout out to them. Bill DiLuigi, Jane Sachs, my all the musicians that played on this, this EP. I mean, just incredible. They came in. I told them, just sort of, let's just vibe and let's just. And so they brought suggestions. And then my buddy Fred Gablick, I went to him and I said, "Man, I want horns for Stand," and I wanted something instead of just like a regular patch. And so he actually wrote the arrangement for Stand, and I told him keep Al Green in mind. So he actually wrote that. He came up with those parts, and he played all the sax lines on that. He played every sax on it, and man, great. So all of the musicians, let's say it was Steve, it was Dave, Troy, Justin, I'm trying to think of, and then Fred, and then Andy Wren, and Andy Renfring sang backgrounds. But I mean, co-writers, some of my good friends, for songwriting, would be Jeff Rowe, Jane Sachs, Brad McKinney, Kellen McKay, Steve Smentek, Scott Volkerding. Don't want to leave anybody out. Uh, yeah, just a lot of friends, and I mean, it's just great. I'm just thankful. Again, I'm thankful to Musicians Corner. I'm so excited to play that. I'm practicing every day because I can't wait to be on this stage because I've been waiting for the longest time to do that show, and so shout out to them, for having me there, and also to you, Axo, for inviting me, for this live. And this is my first one, so thank you so much.
Oh, well, no, the pleasure is all mine. I'm glad I am your first live, and I really appreciate you taking the time to firstly support the blog, but also share your music with us. It's a great EP. I think anyone who is watching, please do go stream it. I'll put all the details in the description if you're watching back. Something Right. It's an incredible journey. People talk about that in EPs all the time, but actually listening from track to track, there's just such a wonderful blend of emotions and movement. And I think it's an incredible project. So thank you for sharing your music and also sharing your time with me today.